Welcome back to The Serial Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Anna Wood. On today's episode, I'm joined by Fabio Bin, the co-founder and CMO of WeRoad. We discuss how WeRoad is tackling the loneliness crisis with travel, connecting people's cultural stories, and a WeRoad marital success story. Let's dig in.
Very good. Thanks.
Yes, thank you for coming on the podcast today. Always good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we begin all of our podcasts with the same question, which is, what's your favorite breakfast cereal and why?
Oh, I'm prepared about the question, actually. I'm kind of fond of cereals. So I can tell you, I used to do like mix of different cereals, like whole grain flakes, and and I put some raisins, some oats, and I have all these jars. So every morning, I like to take some of them from every jar and do the mix. But I also have to say that I like so much to try the cereal from the Surreal guys. So they're in the UK. They're doing amazing campaigns. Bye, guys. I like to try your cereal sooner or later.
Yes, I've actually tried some of the cereals. They're really nice. So could you begin to introduce yourself and tell me a bit about your background?
Yep, I am Fabio. I stopped working in the media advertising space in the early 2000s. So I'm quite old. I'm 50. I turned 50 this year. And so basically, I will say that I saw the internet evolution from the inception. And I've been working in publishing for about 12, 13 years. And I was in the B2B part and taking care of advertising at servers, all this stuff. But my art I was about the consumer part. So in 2013, I guess, I moved to the startup world because I found that let's say the corporate environment was too old school in a way, not that dynamic. So I took this leap into the void, I would say, and I moved to the startup world and doing basically everything, from product design to consumer marketing. I basically reinvent myself, and it was very, very good experience. Tough because I was thinking to be a smart guy when I used to be in the corporate environment. I understood that working with founders and entrepreneurs is a complete different story in terms of speed, adaptation. So it's a very, very, very good experience. And then after a few years in that space, I co-founded my own company, which is called WeRoad, and we do organized trips.
Yeah, great. So what is WeRoad in a bit more detail? What is your mission?
Yeah, I used to say that we do sell trips, okay, and actually, our trips are meant for people in their 30s. They are for people, for a small group of people, 8 to 15 people. It's a mainly long haul tour, and these people they don't know each other before leaving. So basically, it's a group of stranger that they travel together and they forge relationship and friendship while traveling. This group is led by a travel coordinator, and this guy, the travel coordinator, is not a professional travel guide. We don't want them to be professional travel guides. We want them to be part of the group. So basically, it's a side gig for this person. And you can have your daily job. You can be an employee. You can be a freelancer, whatever. And you decide to spend your free time leading a group. Of course, we do a kind of strong selection to become travel coordinators. But once you become travel coordinator, you can lead the group. And what we are looking at, or what we are looking for when we put these kind of people is mostly about the team building skills, leadership, because they have to keep the group together. So the product itself is trips, okay? But the real need that we are fulfilling is a completely different one. Is a need for again a relationship and friendship, because the idea started from the personal experience of mine and my co-founder. I was already in my 40s. Paul was in approaching his 30s, and we were struggling in finding people to travel with because when you're at this age, making new friends is complicated. Maybe some of your friends are already married, they are kids, or they moved to another city for job. It's not like anymore like the uni. You can meet people every day, ending up in dinners and parties. It's different because it's adult life basically. So the idea was, okay, I have to find someone to travel with, and I want to go to a specific destination. So we have to find people to travel with and they're willing to go on a specific kind of tour. Our tour, for
Mhm.
example, are on the road tours. We basically move every day. We change hotel every day. We do a lot of road tripping. You have to enjoy this kind of this type of vacation, this type of trip. And so the idea is, let's put together people that are willing to do the same tour, the same approach, but most importantly, let's put together people same age. That's the real deal, and I think it's part of what set us aside from the rest of the tour operators. So we
Mhm.
started with a specific age bracket, 25 to 35. Now we have a second age bracket, which is 35 plus, up to 49, basically. But the idea of being part of the same generation is meant for making people mingling and
Mhm.
becoming friends easily. So basically, we do organize trips, but we do sell friendships.
Yeah. I think it's quite poignant what you say. I think I see a lot online of adults saying that same thing, how adulthood's so different to being a child, but also being in university, where friendships are so easy to make because you're constantly around people who want to have those new experiences. Whereas as an adult, as you said, people move on, people move away, that you're still friends, but it's
Exactly.
not it's not that you're just going to be like, oh, let's go on holiday in a couple of weeks because everyone's got life stuff going on.
Exactly. It's life stuff going on. It's exactly that's a problem. And I think we exist because of that, because we are adults now and, it's life stuff. So, yeah, your job, maybe you're all parents and different schedules to match. That's one of the most important problem, the different schedules, or even the lack of confidence to let's say to ruin a friendship because when you go on a trip or when a friend you don't know how the person is your friend that in the real life. You don't
Mhm.
know how he's traveling with him, with her. So I guess it is because of that.
Yeah. Travel compatibility is such a thing. You can
Yeah,
go on a holiday
yeah,
with friends and
yeah.
realize that half of you you want to chill for a bit but also want to see everything, and then someone else is like, "Oh, I just wanted to sit by the pool all day." Which is fair enough. People go on holiday for different reasons. When you
Exactly.
realize you've gone on a holiday with someone and you're like, "Oh, I wanted to do all these other things," and you don't at that point want to go alone as well. So, how do you think WeRoad is tackling the, I guess, loneliness crisis that we're seeing right now?
This is a very, very good question. Loneliness crisis, I think, is kind of became a mainstream phenomenon. I mean, is on every media. Everyone is talking about that. There are
Mhm.
researchers saying that, for example, American people, 1 out of 7, they don't have friends
Mhm.
as adults. I mean, and this is true. So what we have been working on, what we are doing since our inception, we born in 2017, is exactly this. So offer people an occasion to meet new people. Again, the excuse is traveling. So you have free time. You have to you have to fill this free time and you want to go on an holiday, but you don't have any people to travel with. Okay, that's the first stage. But then you need the gut to travel with stranger, to do something with stranger, with people you don't know. Once you do that step, it's something happening. And it's when you go on a weird trip, for example, the first day we have this welcome meeting where with 15 people, all strangers, it's kind of awkward. That's no one are is confident in saying something, in exposing himself. And then the magic is that after a couple of days, since in a trip we are sharing basically everything, we are sharing transfer, we are sharing rooms, we are eating together, we are partying together. There's also good and bad thing happening together. In a couple of days, you click or you don't sometime, but you click with people, and it seems to you to know these people since a very very long time. And after 10 days, you say you look backwards, say, "Wow, it's 10 days. It seems an entire life." And then what is and again how we are fighting the loneliness crisis is the fact that this experience is not limited to the tour itself. I think this, and we are very proud of this. People that go on a WeRoad tour, they come back and they stay friend. It's kind of our even I would say marketing promise. I would say you live solo, you come back with friends, and this is true because these people they regroup, they stay in touch. They do a reunion weekends on their own, or if they're living in the same city, they start hanging out together. It happened even to me. I have people I recently celebrate my again 50 birthdays, and I invited to my birthday people that I met on a Euro trip, and we are. I wouldn't have imagined to invite people that I just knew like 1 year ago, but we are hanging out together basically at least once per month. So yeah, we are. I guess enriching and extending the network of friendship in their adult life, in their adult time. I will say so. This is the straight way to say it. But on top of that, I have to say that we are moving beyond the trips itself because we started, I guess, 4 or 5 years ago, just as a marketing channel to run events like we were doing aperitifs nights just to make people get in touch with us to understand the model, how our trip is, and just to make them know in travel coordinators or the travel coordinators role. And it turned out that this kind of events, we have many people that travel with us showing up and bringing along new friends, so their friends. And these people were meeting new people. So we extended this format. It's not anymore about like a marketing channel. It became an original format, and it took many forms, like from dinners to I don't know yoga session at the park on the weekend or hiking parties. It depends. There are just occasion during the year. So aside from the trip itself, to meet new people. So basically I have to say, you asked me before about our mission. I can tell you that our vision is connecting people, cultural stories. And this is the same vision from day one. And as you can see, it doesn't mention travel or the travel industry. It's just about people and connection between people. So, yes, I will say so.
Y- Great. So, what are some examples of the kind of trips that WeRoad offers?
Okay, we have different types of trips. The I would say the signatures ones are called WeRoad 360, like Thailand 360. It's a typical tour. I would say an entry level approach to the country that you're gonna visit. It has a mix of adventure, nightlife, culture. It tends to be close to the local communities. That's really important. For example, we tend to avoid hotel chains. We do prefer local accommodation, and basically you move every day. You start from the usually from the capital of the country. You move around the country, and you come back to the to the origin. The first day, there's a people have an appointment, a meetup for a welcome meeting. So you can, for example, travel flight to the country even a couple of days before. You can stay on your own, and then you have this welcome meeting. That and the tour start, and you stay together for the duration
Mhm.
until the end again. And yes, there's a mix of experiences. Again, can be something more active, something more chill. It depends. And generally speaking, tour, the 360, very balanced. And then we have
Mhm.
different tours. They are more, I would say, edgy in a way, like there are more adventurous. For example, there's a tour in Iceland that is really trekking, it's meant for trekking, and you sleep in tents. So
Mhm.
it's the tours are even self-selecting a bit kind of people that and the travel style. Or we have tours that are called collection. They are kind of premium, so we ensure that all the accommodation are 4 or 5 star hotels. There's at least one hotel which is part of the experience itself because it's like a super gem, local gem
Mhm.
in the destination. It depends. I think that generally speaking, we are like tours. There are the classic one about 10 days with trip around the country. We are shorter tour. They are like just they're called express, and there are maybe short haul and even shorter tours for just 1 or 2 nights. There are weekends if you want to do a long weekend or a break every now and then during the year. But all these tours are in common. Again, the fact that you travel with people that you don't know before, and they are led by a travel coordinator, which is the most important part. Because again, the trip itself is just a background. Yeah, the landscape.
Mhm.
Everything you're gonna see is the landscape for an experience that is made of people connection.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you also mentioned about how you avoid chain hotels. Do you think that supporting smaller and more local businesses throughout the travel experience is important?
Yes, it's important for 2 reasons. One is obviously, I would say, an a social reason, I will say. The other one is even the experience that you're providing to the travelers. You cannot, yes, it's a group trip, so it's an organized trip, but we want to be as much as possible not like a tour operator. We tend to avoid it. We avoid this word actually because we don't want to do standard trip, repeating the same experiences that everyone does in a market. So finding experiences that are local, finding accommodation that are local is paramount.
Mhm.
To be told, of course, uh, when the numbers grow, is harder and harder to find local, small, off the beaten track experiences.
Mhm.
So, for example, for our, I would say, bestseller and top seller trips, maybe it isn't like the long tails. We have to balance this. As a general rule, we want to avoid as much as possible. Not always we are capable of doing so, but we are tours especially the long tail, they are actually really off the beaten track with super local experiences and super local accommodation. I guess it's a matter of trade-off on is becoming mainstream and destination that becoming mainstream and just serving also another kind of a customer that are more oriented to sustainability and also to again exclusive experience. And when I say
Mhm.
exclusive, telling about the fact that they are very niche.
Yeah, great. So, what are some of the challenges that you faced on the We Road journey, and how did you manage to overcome them?
Oh, I guess many as every startup and now scale up, I think we face different challenges at every stage
Mm.
of the company. At the beginning, of course, it was like to reach the decent amount of visibility and customers to be an actual business. So I have to say that we found pretty soon our product market fit, but number have to scale to you have to become relevant. And I have to say that was the most energizing part of the business when you start putting some trips. Well, when we started, we were the two of us and some other people along the way in the first months. We have only 80 itineraries. Now consider we have more than 1,000 of itineraries. So just to give you an example, so we had to start it, and so the challenge was make getting product market fit and make a name for us, especially becoming new in the market in the travel space. Then I think that as soon as we started becoming really relevant and expanding internationally, we faced the global pandemic. 2020 until
Mhm.
2022 has been a very tough period for us. Consider that our some of our advisors told us, guys, you should freeze the company and let's see in a couple of years. While we kept fighting, we had furlough, we had everything that was needed. But we even reinvent ourselves, providing consultancy for other companies in the B2B space just to
Hmm.
survive. So, and we redesigned completely our portfolio of offering. For example, let's consider that March 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic, we had about 100 itineraries, and 90% of these ones, they were long haul, no itineraries in Europe. And in June of the same year, we redesigned the portfolio. We had 150 itineraries, and the new ones, they were all short haul, European, Mediterranean itineraries. So where it was possible to travel, basically, because of the travel bans. So it has been a very, very tough period, but I think we learned a lot, and also we became stronger as a team. And then different challenges when you scale up.
Hmm.
And to me personally, I think are the hardest, and this growing number of people in the company. Because at the beginning, when you're a small team, you understand each other immediately. Everyone is doing everything. Everyone is perfectly aligned. Everyone is in the same room. It's completely different. When you scale up, you start becoming more and more people. You have to onboard people from the outside, and these people, they didn't lived the early days, so maybe they don't understand immediately. They don't get immediately your peculiarities, or your way of working, etc. And then when you start to go in international, for example, you have to start again in finding the right people, finding new people, convince them to work for you, because you are no one. And so it's not that easy to find talents willing to join a company they don't know. So I
Hmm.
think it's a very hard part, the one of becoming international and find the right people. That to me has been pretty tough.
Yeah. There's always challenges on the startup journey, isn't there?
Yeah.
So, on the flip side of that, what would you say have been some of the biggest highlights on the journey so far?
Oh, many, too many. First of all, that is something very, I would say, emotional on customer wise. We always had a very, very good score. We have surveys about the of credit trips, and we have always above 9 in terms of the grade that we got, 9 out of 10. The grade that we got from customers about the travel coordinators or the trip itself. So that's is very rewarding. But what is much more rewarding is what people are saying, are writing in the reviews. There are people that are saying, "You changed my life.
Hmm.
I met new friends. I was afraid to live with a bunch of strangers. It has been the best choice of my life." For example, this kind of I think this is very that's no value. This kind of when I read and every now and then I keep reading the reviews, and they kind of move me
Hmm.
because it's you see the impact that you have on people, and then you have people that maybe they just write to you. Once we have a customer that replied to our newsletter saying, "Guys, you changed my life because I found the love of my life. I was thinking that to be single forever because I wanted to stay single. And then I'm a different person. I'm in love, and they got married." So this kind of stuff for me is the best highlights, even if it's not business. I mean,
Hmm.
and then other highlights that are on the business side, the fact that we kept growing, we survived the pandemic. That's
Hmm.
for me unbelievable. Let's consider that in terms of our growth, the first like the booster part, the first six months of our story, we had like I guess 250 customers, and then the year after 2,500, so 10, and then the year after 10,000. And then during the pandemic in the 2020 and 21, 22, we say around 10,000 each year. And then we did 30,000, 60, and last year close to 100. And so seeing these numbers and seeing the number of people that are growing is impressive. Consider that we basically did last year in one day the whole revenues that we did in 2 years before in one entire year.
Mhm.
So that's something that is very energizing. And the other part is seeing the highlights, is seeing the community of travel coordinators growing and growing internationally. These guys, the travel coordinators, they are now more than 3,000. When we started, we have like 10 people, friends and family. Just to see the comparison. And but they are growing in every market in Europe. So, for example, we do a global reunion event once per year where we put together all these people. And we do celebration workshop and parties for a couple of days on a weekend, and it's very rewarding seeing people from all over Europe, like celebrate people same age or people between 25 and 40 years old, celebrating, staying together, mingling. And there's a lot of sub communities of these people. We have local chapters, or we have like passion based kind of chapters. And so basically, again, about connection, we made these people connecting and traveling and meeting new people. That's for me the
Mhm.
most important highlights.
Yeah, I think coming back to your points of, I guess, seeing the impact that you've made on people's lives of the experiences they've had, and they found a partner that they've now got married to. I guess seeing all that come from an idea that you had
Yeah.
years ago, and seeing that come to fruition and seeing people's lives change must feel amazing.
Yes, I think that's why I'm talking more about the people than the business itself, because that's
Mhm.
I think we are lucky because we are in a business that on one end is we of course is there's tech and read. We have many developers. We
Mhm.
develop in-house everything about our tech infrastructure, but it's not like the typical tech business, or we are not a tech company under those terms. And
Mhm.
so we are basically a company made of people. Is a business made of people. So maybe in terms of if you look for I would say business perspective, maybe we are not that interesting as a technology company. But if I look at another perspective, we can feel and touch the impact. When I say I'm lucky, I'm referring to the fact that we can see not just the number and the revenues growing, but seeing the stories of the people behind those numbers. I think that it's not many businesses has this kind of possibility to touch the people like we are touching
Mhm.
and see the results and get feedbacks. Again, we have a lot of feedbacks, a lot of people sharing picture with us, a lot of people telling their stories about the fact that they met friends, partners, etc.
Yeah, I think travel is also such a people-based
Yeah,
activity. So,
absolutely.
yeah. So looking at your journey so far, what have been some of the lessons that you've learned?
Okay, I think nothing completely new from what
Mhm.
you're reading around. For example, fail fast. That's the
Mhm.
typical one. Over the years, we launched many projects. Some of them have been very successful, other sucked completely. The point is not to be too attached to your idea or to your project. So it's not working. Let it go. For
Mhm.
example, in my previous experience, I tried to start another company, and it was a marketplace. One of the side of the marketplace were doing very well, the other one wasn't. So I was kind of stuck, and but I was so attached to the idea that I wanted to make it work. But I turned away a lot of time and a lot of effort and investments, and it wasn't simply working. So
Mhm.
it would have been better to recognize this is not working. Let it go. So fail fast. Try many times, and fail fast. Another point is give room to the ideas that are coming bottom up. For example, I'm still leading the marketing team, and one of the thing that I appreciate the most is the fact that people are having ideas and they are not self-censoring themselves, let's
Mhm.
say, and they are having ideas every day. every day and they say, why we could do that? What do you think about? Or let's do it. For example, I didn't put, or I'm still not putting any approval process, for example, for ideas, and
Hmm.
trust a lot the team. That's another important lesson. Trusting. If you trust someone, trust completely, complete trust, because this is unlocking a lot of potential, but it is also impressing a lot of speed in your business. If you have a team that you trust and you give them freedom, a lot of magic things are going to happen. If
Hmm.
you are like micromanaging the team, and I think that usually happen when you don't trust that much the people, usually it is not ending. It's not meant to end well. I mean, so
Hmm.
my point is find the right people. That's the another important lesson. And yes, I would say try to tackle any opportunity and even leave aside the ones that are completely nonsense, but look around.
Hmm.
That's very important. And again, I would say yes, it's a empower people. That's I love that. I think that it's many time companies are slowing down because they have too many processes. They have too many approval layers. This kind of stuff. While if you give the freedom, then you can if they do mistakes, you can correct afterwards.
Hmm.
But at least you are not stopping, you're not preventing the creativity to happen.
Yeah, definitely. So, what is one lesson or piece of advice that you wish you would have known before transitioning to kind of the startup space?
I would say for sure less thinking and more doing.
Hmm.
That the I think there are many people that are blocked by paralysis by analysis. Too many people that are always waiting for the right moment to do stuff, or to be prepared to launch a product. This is something that I learned when I met Paolo, my co-founder. I was a manager, so he was an entrepreneur, and I understood working with him, and I understood the hard way the first time that we started working together before we rode, that the his time to decision was impressive. I was accustomed to work on an environment that used to take like weeks to get
Hmm.
a decision. Steering committees, a lot of you know, balancing different opinion, different interests. Why when I started working with an entrepreneur, I noticed that he took decision in minutes, half an hour. A
Hmm.
meeting was enough, and after the meeting, it was immediately like the follow up. How's it doing? Are you doing with this? This is the output. How is the progress? So the speed of this, okay, was so doing instead of analyzing what to do or being perfect before releasing a product or whatever is
Hmm.
the thing that I would have not just before we wrote, but in my life, in my previous part,
Hmm.
in my career. Even if I knew that was easier to do things and then test things and then correct if they're not doing well, instead of doing a lot of analysis before starting, I think
Hmm.
my life would have been much better.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that same sentiment where because I think perfection is so instilled in a lot of people that it's like, oh, I can't release this until it's perfect. But you see so many startups basically building in public to be like, this is our idea. Oh, we've had to pivot, but everyone's still there watching because what they're doing is really interesting. So yeah, I think that's quite an interesting one.
And advise everyone to do it immediately. Don't
Yeah,
wait. Don't wait.
yeah, that is good advice for I guess any part of your life, isn't it? So, what do you think is next for the company, and what goals do you have for the upcoming year?
Yeah. What in the last years we moved from our original market, our main market, which was Italy. We moved to Spain, Germany, France, the UK. Last year we expanded to the rest of Europe. So basically now we are present with our offer across all Europe.
Mm.
The let's say the next for sure would be try to expand outside the continent.
Mm-hmm.
That's a word outside. Honestly, we have always our target in mind, which is again people in their 30s, our core target. Then for sure we are changing, we are adapting our portfolio again to basically to fulfill every type of needs in terms of I don't know, spending power. So again, more premium trips, even more, let's say, Spartan or basic trips, so budget trips, let's say, like call it that, shorter and longer. So, but that's another offering. I think that
Mm-hmm.
strategically, the two next big thing would be international expansion beyond Europe. Probably something that's going to happen, but later on in the year. And while we are going to starting from April, so releasing our app that is not meant for trips, but it's
Mm-hmm.
meant for events and for meetups. So I was saying before, we already have 1,000 events in every market every year, and we are working on that. Like, can be again yoga session, hiking parties, can be pottery classes, whatever. So occasion to meet people, and we are going to release this app for and at the same time an offer of events where you can meet people either if you are in your city or if you are traveling across Europe, even enjoying a We Road event in
Mm-hmm.
in another city. It won't be called We Road; it will be called We Meet as a brand name of our events, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be released in next month.
Yeah, great. That sounds really good. So that is the end of my questions. Is there anything else that you wanted to add or plug on top of the app?
No, I would say just one thing that again is not business, but it's something that I learned in this year. We wrote and recently. It's more recently because I read a couple of articles about that. One of them was talking about us. It's about going outside of our social bubbles. So,
Mm-hmm.
I get we wrote is, but there's even other solution out there, especially with meetups, etc., to start meeting new people that are outside of our bubble. For example,
Mm-hmm.
my personal bubble, I have only a few passions. One is business and my job. The other one is music and gigs and art and stuff like that. And so I tend to hang out with people belonging to these bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go on a weird trip, I meet people that I would never met in my life because they are not belonging. They are outside of these bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
But staying together with these people. So first of all, putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. So and deciding to invest time in meeting people that otherwise you would have never known. It's something that is help you to be a better person. So because
Mm-hmm.
I met people, that I have long conversation with people that I never met in my life. And that I think I invited. So my advice again, the thing that I want to say on top is go outside of your social personal bubbles because the world is big, and especially in a time in which there are so different opinion. We
Mm-hmm.
are distant. I mean, there are people quite aggressive in exchange. Let's read the comments on the internet when people attack. Even they don't know each other and they start fighting around anything.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is that get to know people that are not close to you because the world it is there, and I think as a human being we could be much better.
Yeah, and it definitely expands your worldview by just talking to people who you normally wouldn't, whether that is going on a trip with someone or making that drive to just engage in conversation with a
Okay.
whole host of people. But yeah, I think that's a really good note to end the podcast on. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming on the
Thank you, Anna.
podcast today. Thank you so much. And I hope to see a lot more of We Road and We Meet soon.
Yeah. And if you like to join one of our tour, let me know. I'll send you a code or a book for you. That will be a pleasure.
Amazing. I will do. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks again.
If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and check out Startup Magazine's socials to stay up to date on the latest startups news.